R&B diva Nicki Richards is up next. Let's talk. How you doing out there? Thank you so much for joining me today. Oh my gosh, I'm really excited about covering this R&B diva again. She's an R&B diva who I never had the opportunity to listen to her entire album at all. So I'm squeezing these R&B divas in who look like maybe they had only one album out, released a single or two, and then you never really hear from them again as far as another album is concerned. But that's not the case for Nicki Richards. It looks as if Nicki Richards finally got around to releasing another album after her 1991 release, Naked to the World, on Atlantic Records. It looks as if she released an album in 2008 and 2012. I probably will give those albums a listen, but right now we're just pretty much focusing on Naked to the World. So what do I know about Nicki Richards? Very little. Oh my gosh, it was just so difficult to even try to find much on her musically, that is. You know, I don't go around digging in people's trash, but musically, that is. It was very difficult to find even the credits for this album. I was like, come on, you guys, like, give me some credits. You know how much I like to look at credits. So anywho, Nicki Richards, how I discovered her was pretty much being glued into the television set again. Her video for Naked was released, was premiered, and there I was, just like what's her name, Desiree Coleman's song Romance. I discovered Nicki Richards the same way. Her video Naked came up, and the next thing I know is I'm like, okay, she's on BET Video Soul. And I just so happened to stumble across the video of her on Video Soul. I probably will link that here as well. You know, I was like, oh man, I remember that episode of Video Soul. I do believe, I didn't watch the video, by the way. I just happened to stumble across it. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Nicki Richards was a background singer for Madonna and Mariah Carey. I think so. She for sure won Star Search. She won Star Search, and that's how she was able to get her recording contract and, you know, release her album on Atlantic Records. I was also pleasantly surprised to see another executive involved with the project, you know, and over here sometimes it seems like I probably say some negative things about this particular executive, but you know, I'm definitely a fan of hers, and that is Sylvia Rhone. When I found out she was involved with the project, she and Marilyn Bob over at Atlantic Records at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And you know, Sylvia Rhone, you know, she has that golden finger or thumb or whatever you want to call it. So I was like, how is it that this record just did not, you know, pretty much hit for Nicki Richards, being that Sylvia Rhone was somewhat involved in it? But it is what it is. Hold on, we're about to get into the actual album. We definitely about to do that. But I just want to say one more thing when it comes to Nicki Richards. You guys know that I'm definitely biased when it comes to my R&B divas, and they are involved in their projects from being a writer and a producer. And Nicki Richards was hands-on with this record. So the fact that she was writing and producing on this album, she's already up there with me without even listening to the album. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I like Nicki already. And I'm here to tell you, I am definitely, you know, more drawn towards those kinds of R&B divas, if you haven't picked that up over here. And you know, it's one thing to be an R&B diva who is a songwriter, but when you're an R&B diva who is a producer as well, you know, you're dealing with a different monster at that moment in time. And, you know, there's a whole lot involved, you know, with these producers credits and so on and so forth. So again, my hats off to Nicki. I hope that you are still, you know, writing and producing. I hope so. For that reason alone, I know I'm going to look and see if she has been involved in any other projects as far as writing and producing, you know, other songs. You never know. You might come across a song. I might come across a song that I liked and didn't know she was involved with. You understand what I'm saying? So anywho, last thing, and then I'm done. My aunt. If you have watched any videos over here, you know I talk a lot about my aunt, my mother's sister, you know, who definitely, you know, can find me some singers who, you know, she'll come up to me and she'll let me know, you know, hey, let me introduce you to this artist, so on and so forth. So anyway, I discovered Lisa Keith. I discovered Kelly Price, In Vogue, Mary J. Blige, Mesa, Phyllis Hyman, a lot of divas and so on and so forth, and some jazz musicians as well. I think like Incognito and all those people, and Alex Bouillon, I'm saying his name right. But anyway, so she's just all over the place with her music. Anywho, so she comes up to me one day and she says, have you heard of this singer by the name of Nicki Richards? I was like, have I? I was like, yes, I know, you know, I know of her. Anywho, she discovered Nicki Richards with her second release, Summer Breeze, you know, and I was like, no, I'm ahead of you. I know of her from Naked, you know, the first song. And, you know, we talked about that, of course, you know, always, you know, talking about music with her. And so anyway, let's get right into the album. I must say, I am pleasantly surprised with Nicki Richards in that I like the album. I do. Now, versus Desiree Coleman's album, you know, her vocally, I get this opera singer from her. With Deatra Hicks, I get this powerhouse vocalist who tried to breathe life into these songs that just wasn't hitting. You know, if I had to put these ladies in categories, I would say Nicki Richards fits comfortably in the middle of these two divas. I do. She's not trying to be over the top. She's not trying to be different. It just seems to me that Nicki Richards is just being Nicki Richards, you know, and I think she gives me the vibe that she's comfortable in her skin, but it looks like she's a very humble diva, you know, like she's just I'm doing what I do, and that's pretty much what it is. My talent pretty much speaks for itself. Now, I like the up-tempo songs on this album more so than I do Deatra Hicks and Desiree Coleman. Yeah, I have to say the up-tempo songs does it for me, and that's a perfect segue into talking about the album. So let's get it started. I have my notes. I'm ready. All right, so the first song, Naked, pretty much doesn't need an introduction. It's the first song. If you haven't heard Naked by Nicki Richards, I suggest that you go out and listen to it. I don't think that you will be I don't think you will overly like the song, meaning like, oh my God, this is the banger, because there really isn't any bangers on this first release. It just isn't. But I don't think you'll be like, oh, I don't like it either. I think it looks like to me, Naked to the World is a perfect introduction song for Nicki Richards and what you should expect to get from her. And maybe the record companies thought the same way. Well, hey, let's release this song. It's a perfect introduction to her. And then the second song, Summer Breeze, let's, you know, pretty much put our efforts behind that. Now, there's another song on the album, and I think I listened to this album in the sequence of the way the songs are on the album. You know, I think I did. I'm not quite sure. So the next song on the album is a song called New Days of Rage. And my first thought was that I wasn't going to like the up-tempo songs, but I found myself like, okay, it's decent. The song is not a turn on, but at the same time, what I'm getting from Nicki Richards with all of her songs is that they're not catchy. There's not a catchy song, if you will, like a hook that you remember, like that just draws you in, a hook that you can just really repeat over and over again. Nothing memorable at all about any of the songs on the album except for the song Naked. I mean, it's very catchy. You know, Naked to the World. It's very simple. You remember that song, and then to sing the chorus Naked to the World, like it's catchy. But that's it. There's no other catchy song on the album. And then there's a song, the next song I heard is a song called Sunshine. Now, this is when it starts to get interesting because, you know, as I say, how I think over here, I'm all of a sudden now as I'm listening and I'm listening carefully and intently, and I'm saying to myself, this sounds familiar to me. And the song Sunshine reminds me of another R&B diva. You ready? Vanessa Williams. I heard this song and I was like, oh my gosh, like this song is definitely the comfort zone. Like this, when did the comfort zone come out? Did the comfort zone come out in 1992? No, 1991. When did the song come out? Y'all gonna be 1991. The comfort zone came out in 1991. I'm not quite sure whose song came out first, but yeah. The Comfort Zone came out in 1991, and this song is giving me Vanessa Williams vibes. I mean, extremes to me, Vanessa Williams. And this song is also written by another R&B diva's brother. You know who the R&B diva is? Well, if you said Chaka Khan, that's right. Chaka Khan's brother, Mark Stevens, actually co-wrote this song, and I was surprised. So when I found out, I was like, Chaka Khan's brother co-wrote this song. You know me, I know of Chaka Khan's sister being in the industry, but not her brother. And of course, you know, I had to go and check this out. That's why I like album credits. We need album credits. And that's why I like album credits. I was like, Mark Stevens, it's like Chaka Khan's brother. Then I was like, wait a minute, why I haven't heard of this guy? Then guess what I do? I go and start looking him up and find out he was right there in my face the whole entire time and didn't know it. The Jamaican brothers, I was like, get out of town. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, but it's what it is. You know, that's why I just feel like I'm back in 1990 again. You know, just going through my albums and my cassettes and reading all this stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. But anyway, so that's it on that. And then I go to the next song, I Won't Let Go. And I'm definitely at this time getting the Vanessa Williams vibe. I don't know, you guys. I don't know if they're trying to make her out to be the next Vanessa Williams. But for me, I think it works. However, if that's what they was trying to do, squeeze in a little bit of Vanessa Williams, unfortunately, well, you know, 1991 has definitely come and gone. Maybe they just didn't get her to, well, you know, Vanessa Williams is a whole nother, a diva on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? Beauty, brains, all that stuff. I mean, she already came with this, you know, larger than life image. I mean, Miss America, the first Black Miss America. So she comes with this whole image already, and then she parlays that into being an R&B diva. There was just no way at the beginning Nicki Richards was going to be able to compete with that. And it looks like they wasn't trying. But now that I'm thinking about the video to Summer Breeze, it almost reminds me of the song, the Comfort Zone video, as well as Running Back to You video. Well, you know, it's what it is, Vanessa. You know, it's like I said, it's what it is. But I'm definitely, as I said, I'm getting a Vanessa Williams vibe from her. and she's very smooth with it. As I said in the beginning, she's not a Deatra Hicks. She's not a Desiree Coleman. She's not a B. Angie B type of persona, if you will, but it's working. It's really working for her, And then, of course, the next song was Summer Breeze. I've heard it time and time again. I didn't play Summer Breeze because I know it. And then the next song will be Voyage to Atlantis. Wait a minute. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Could I be onto something and I don't know it, y'all? Why do I say I'm thinking Vanessa Williams, right? See, that's why I think y'all be thinking I'll be tripping over here, but I mean, it just happens. It just falls in my lap like this. Guess what? Vanessa Williams redid Work to Do by the Isley Brothers on her Comfort Zone album. Remember that? She did Work to Do. Now I made the Vanessa Williams connection with that song that I just told you guys about, and then realized that Nicki Richards is doing some of the Isley Brothers material. Summer Breeze, and I was just about to talk about the Voyage to Atlantis song. And she fell short with this song, and this is why I'm very mindful when I listen to a remake. It's hard to remake any song. Who cares what it is? If it's a song that has been out, it's difficult because you don't know what to do with a remake, right? Especially if it's a remake that not a lot of people know. Then do you keep it? Do you keep the tracks? Do you keep the arrangements the same? Like, are you keeping all the approach the same, or do you want to come in and put your own flavor onto it? And you probably can do that with a song that's never been heard before in someone's catalog, and it might be okay. You might get a hit out of that one. But when it comes to an established song that we all know, and maybe it wasn't released, but it was definitely one of those songs that, people played on a particular album a lot, then when you remake it, in the case with Nicki Richards, we want to hear what we are used to hearing from A Voyage to Atlantis. We want to hear that version. And so when Nicki Richards sings it, and she sounds great vocally, but now you're looking like, but where is the track that I'm used to hearing? And it looks like they watered this one down as well. And that's why Voyage to Atlantis seemed like it fell short to me. I was like, okay, I want to hear the track now. Diva, I know you can sing it. You're singing your behind off. But there's a disconnect in my head from that. And I am also noticing now, as someone who likes to listen to music, is that sometimes I probably need to listen to it more objectively, and also give the artist, the opportunity to, let us know, allow the artist to give us his or her rendition of the song, which is something, maybe I need to talk about that. I'm probably going to talk about that. How we don't really appreciate music, and I'm noticing that within myself. I just want the hits because we are consumer driven. We want what we like and consumer driven, but at the end of the day, we're just not appreciating music for what it is. Shame on us. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. So the next song, I feel like should have definitely been a must-have single on this album, and it should have been a single that was should have been released. What Happened to Us? Oh my gosh, that song is definitely in rotation. I don't know if it was released as a single on this album, but What Happened to Us? You guys, I love this song. It's probably the best song on the album. And then we have a song called What's Going On. It's an up-tempo song. And this is pretty much what happens when you get to track 8 on Nicki Richards' album. All right. You just let it play now. You can let her album play. Not necessarily songs you want to skip, but they're not songs you necessarily want to listen to as well. Like if I put Nicki Richards' album in and play it in its entirety, it's going to be one of those albums that I will play. I'm kind of like, okay, I have it. I'm going to play it. It's a decent album. And unfortunately, this album, oh gosh, this could be, kind of not a good, statement about Nicki Richards' album. But her album to me is the album that I will play if I'm cleaning up. All right. Like I'm cleaning up the house and I just say, okay, let me put some of that Nicki Richards in, get in the mood, cleaning up, washing clothes, whatever I'm doing. If I want to rearrange furniture or something, or, I just want to put it in. Or maybe she's the artist that if you're sitting around and I'm talking to you about music and R&B divas, Nicki Richards is definitely someone I'm going to make sure you know about. So that's the category that she falls in when it comes to track 8 all the way down. As I said, not necessarily a throwaway. I like the up-tempo songs more than I like any of the other R&B divas that I just covered. Album up-tempo songs. But when I got to track 10, there is a song called Dirty Job, track 10. When I listened to this song, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard the production, and I was like, I remember these guys, but I was like, I can't believe that's the first thing that came to my mind. Track 10, Dirty Jobs, remind me of the production of Timmy Gatlin, or is it Gatling? I think it's Gatlin. Timmy Gatlin, a former member of Guy. He was a part of Guy right up until the point they released their first album. He made his exit then. So he's on the album cover, but he's not in the group. Timmy Gatlin and Alton Wookie Stewart. That track, if you go over to track 10 and play track 10, Dirty Job, and if you're familiar with Timmy Gatlin and Alton Wookie Stewart, then you will know, like, yeah, he's right on the money. It sounds like an album, a track that they would produce, but they didn't produce on this album, not at all. And so that's pretty much it. My commentary on, Nicki Richards as it relates to her album, Naked to the World. Definitely an R&B diva who we should pretty much appreciate and so on and so forth. It's a shame that she just didn't get that second album in. I think that would have at least, been something, in her career where we could have gotten a hit out of. But for sure, if you don't listen to any songs at this moment in time by Nicki Richards, you can definitely play Naked, Summer Breeze, and What Happened to Us. That's right. So if you made it to this part of my commentary, then I think it's appropriate for me to say, hey, hang out with me. We're talking about R&B divas, and every now and then we'll tackle some entertainment news. This is definitely a dialogue over here, not a monologue. I appreciate you guys so much. Like, share, subscribe, leave comments, the whole nine. And also to remember, we put our behinds where our heart desires to be. So if you want to sing, baby. If you want to write, get out and write. If you want to go to college, go to college. Just put your behind where your heart desires to be. And also remember, whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember that I love you, but God loves you best. And I'm saying that to you as well. I love you out there, you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you're loving yourself so you can give that love to others. Whew. And on that note, I'm looking forward to seeing you next video. Until then, you already know what you're supposed to do. Take care of yourselves and see you next video.